October 10th, 2007. If that date sounds familiar, that's because that was the date Valve's Orange Box and Half-Life 2 Episode 2 came out. For the math savvy among you, you'll recognize that as being 18 whole years ago. Yes, people who were born when the Orange Box came out are adults now, so chew on that. Now, Half-Life Alyx came out on March 23rd, 2020, so that was only a 13-year wait between releases in Valve's much-lauded tentpole franchise. But after the promise of regular episodic releases, to say the length of that wait was taking an astronomical amount of piss is a massive understatement. Now, my delay in finally spinning it up was owed only to not wanting to spend several $100s, or in the case of Valve's proprietary Index, a whole mind-boggling 1,000 on a VR set to play the scant handful of games that interested me. So, when the opportunity to get a second-hand Oculus Quest 2 for a reasonable price came up, I jumped at it. Alyx was always at the top of my list to play because, in the 5 years since it came out, I've heard time and again that it was the quintessential VR experience. Indeed, with an overwhelmingly positive rating after nearly 60,000 reviews, the amount of praise it's gotten over the years shows that when Valve does decide to stop just counting their enormous Steam fortune to remember that they can make games, they still do it better than just about anybody else. So the question becomes this: is Half-Life Alyx a glorified VR tech demo, or is it a worthy entry in the Half-Life franchise that stands on its own in one of gaming's most venerable institutions? Well, the opening certainly wants you to think it does. If you launch this game and haven't played through Episode 2, you're treated immediately to a spoiler that, at the time, was one of the most shocking moments in my own video gaming history. I won't elaborate on it here, just in case you haven't played an 18-year-old game, but I will discuss it at the end of this video, so be ye warned. It opens to a glorious view of the City 17 skyline, complete with ruined Eastern European buildings interspersed with spiderwebbed Combine architecture and a looming Strider walking through the city before you. A brief call with your very much alive daddy later, and you're on your way through the building Alyx calls home, feeding bugs and playing with physics objects as you meander, until, after a short elevator ride, Papa Eli is taken by the Combine and your butt stroked to blackness. One car crash later, carefully organized by a drone piloted by someone doing their very best Taika Waititi impression, and you're given a gun, some Jedi power gauntlets, and sent to intercept Eli's train to rescue him before he can be taken to Club Combine for a relaxing interrogatory retreat. From there, the game progresses at a fairly languid pace. It's a while before you encounter your first enemy, the game spending most of its initial few hours getting you used to the way you navigate and interact with the world. It's the kind of protracted tutorial segment that would be mind-numbing in most games, but the same attitude that made Half-Life 2 an instant classic serves to keep it riveting in spite of it. See, I remember when Half-Life 2 came about, and the Game Informer review carried the subtitle Fun with Physics, and that very much applies here. Much the same way the gravity gun revolutionized environmental interaction, your Jedi gauntlets, called the Russells after your Kiwi man in the chair, give you the ability to slingshot items across the field based solely on line of sight. Throughout my entire playthrough, it never stopped being fun to zip ammo up from a distance and pop it in my backpack, or to grab plates, cups, and any of the bizarrely abundant bottles of booze littering the environments and smash them on the ground like Thor asking for another. Sadly, as often as I tried, and it was often, I never managed to heave a bottle through the air and popped it before it smashed on the ground. I guess I've still got some VR good to get. So how about when the combat does kick off? Well, without sounding too much like a Valve fanboy, says the guy who purchased every other Half-Life game on disc and has played them all to near point of memorization, the gunplay in the game feels revolutionary in a way only Valve is really able to pull off. I actually found myself falling into a reflexive Weaver stance that would make my drill sergeants proud every time the bad guys popped up. Even then, when combat got properly hectic, like when I found myself in a casting couch-style throng of zombies in the dark, or a squad of Combine soldiers bore down upon me with guns blasting and flashlights blazing, I found my britches thoroughly soiled by the tension as panic shoved all my training out my poo hole. Things as simple as reloading in combat, something that's only a single button press and barely an afterthought in most first-person shooters, became a precision process of drop spent mag, get new mag from pack, insert mag in magwell, release slide, and hope you did it all from undercover, otherwise the time it took you has left you vulnerable long enough to become the proud owner of a new perforated skull. The increase in mechanical tension alongside the environmental tension sold the unique hook of VR for me more than anything else had before, but even then, I'm not so smitten that I didn't have my gripes. The gripes of my wrath, in this case, are all around the medium of VR itself. As a result of previous experience on Phasmophobia and the famous VR nausea I experienced playing it standing, I started Alyx seated. It plays well in seated mode, but I found myself on more than one occasion whacking my hands or my head on my desk, or crunching my fingers against the floor when opening low drawers to scrounge for ammo and resin. And let me tell you, when you're playing a high-intensity game of pin the grenade on the Combine, and you slam your fist against your desk while white-knuckling a Wiimote, cracking your knuckles like Little Mac and sending your microphone flying across the room, that can really hurt like a bitch. The trade-off for the immersion of the game is the loss of situational awareness that comes with it, which meant that as I progressed, I always had one eye peeking out from under the headset to make sure I didn't cold cock my water bottle again. Now, after my first 6 or so hours, I did transition my I'm definitely almost 40 and suddenly more health conscious than ever sit-stand desk to stand, and played the rest of the game on my feet, which mitigated that considerably, though didn't resolve it completely. In the future when I play this game, and I will play it again, I will move further from my desk and play in the middle of the room, so hopefully it doesn't happen as much, but it just so happens that this is the first game I decided to play with voiceover and face cam so I could upload the long play for more YouTube content, since my edited videos only tend to pull some modest few dozen views, which necessitated staying close to my desk and the camera and microphone thereupon. Oh, the sacrifices we make for content. You're welcome. So, how did I feel after rolling credits on the game? Well, it's time for those Eli Vance-related spoilers I mentioned, so go ahead and fast forward to the last 30 seconds of this video if you still intend to play this and want to avoid being spoiled for one 5-year-old and one 18-year-old game. You see, that opening mentions Eli getting brain-bugged 5 years on, which was the cliffhanger that Valve decided to abandon us with at the end of Half-Life Episode 2. Throughout the course of Alyx, after rescuing your pre-dead papa, you learn of a Combine superweapon hovering above City 17 that becomes the target of your expedition. As you progress, you learn that it is, in fact, a prison made to hold something that scares the head grabs out of the Combine, and conjecture that it is, in fact, the hero of Black Mesa himself, Gordon H. Christ. It does feel somewhat masturbatory the way they talk about him from then on out, but at this point, the people making the game probably grew up on the first Half-Life, so their sweaty PC reverence for the franchise is likely just bleeding through in the writing. The rug gets yanked out from beneath you, however, when you battle your way to the vault and find not an orange-clad crowbar warrior, but the extra-dimensional G-Man himself. After striking a bargain with him to save the life of your father, whomst you only in that moment learn needs saved, Alyx is taken by Phil, and your closing moments are a fade to black, followed by a newly resurrected Eli and Mr. Freeman resolving to rescue her, and where the hell is Half-Life 3 already? The question of whether this is actually the spiritual Half-Life 3 is an academic one. As commonly noted by internet institution Yahtzee Croshaw, Valve only seems to dust off Half-Life when there's a significant technological leap involved. In my opinion, Half-Life Alyx is exactly that. I can safely say that I've never had a video gaming experience quite like it, though part of me does worry that I sprinted for the gold trophy in VR a bit too soon and will be subsequently underwhelmed by every game I play from here on out. The inherent issues with VR aside, I loved every minute of it. Lately, there have been rumors circulating of a proper Half-Life 3 on the horizon, and I would put dollars down that it's another VR game and will further show the power of this maturing medium. Even as much as I loved Alyx, I can absolutely see room for improvement, especially since any follow-up will likely do away with the protracted tutorial and dive right into the action, assuming that anyone who plays it will have already played this. So hey, now it's called action time. Everybody run out and buy secondhand VR headsets and go play Alyx so the great mighty Gabe will stop pushing hero shooters and realize we want more of this, if 60,000 reviews and an overwhelmingly positive rating haven't already done that. Man, does money even mean anything to him anymore? Well, now that Silk Song finally came out, I guess it's my turn to take out stock and clown noses.